Hello, I'm Mark Baer. You're watching YourTown Television. I'm with Kieth Decker, actor. Welcome.
Thank you for allowing me to visit you here in this lovely, lovely porch.
Here we are, living in this beautiful place.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky, and we also have theater. And we were lucky enough, just recently, you were playing Alberto Giacometti in Three Trees, a new play by Alvin Eng and produced by Harriet Lynn. And you played, these are sketches you did while you were Giacometti drawing during the thing. Let's talk about being Giacometti.
Okay, as I told Harriet when she cast me, I know what motivates Count Dracula. I know what motivates Sherlock Holmes. I know what motivates Charles Lindbergh. I could not figure this person out. Honestly, could not figure him out. What motivates him? Because his personality was quite different than mine. He was erratic. He was destructive. He was unfaithful. He was a complex person. But I honestly say, when I approached it, I made the commitment. Okay, I'm throwing myself at this. I really am, because, and I realized that he was sketching constantly,
right,
trying to capture that image. And so throughout rehearsal and throughout performance, I had the sketchbook with me, and I started sketching. And at one point, I actually captured Chris,
yes,
who played Isaku.
Yes,
I captured him just by memory. Anyway, that's it. I am a method actor. That's been my training, the American Conservatory Theater and the Pacific Conservatory of Performing Arts. But I don't take it as far as some actors do. Yeah. And I find that if I really throw myself into it, if I commit to it, and I believe it, they will believe it.
First of all, he was quite mad, Giacometti. And the drawings didn't get better. They just got,
yes.
It just he was looking for something that wasn't there, but he had a safety system that kept him in check. So you're playing somebody who's talented, creative, and a bit mad and a bit destructive. Also, maybe he was totally sane, and everything else around him was. It was a tough question.
That was kind of the way I approached it. I'm right, you're all wrong.
Right,
right?
Because he could get away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the proof's the pudding.
And he did get away with it.
The art lives.
Yeah. But I want to just thank you very much for the images that you produced as a backdrop for this play, because that was very helpful.
It was so much fun. It was all fun.
Yeah.
So you've got to, so the question I wanted to start with as an actor is McDougal and Bleecker Street. What does that mean to you?
Well, I was at the Monterey Peninsula College with Morgan Stock in a little theater doing plays. And one day in the student union, I found a newspaper, and there was an ad in there to deliver a car to Denver, Colorado. And I packed a little kit. I drove the car to Denver, Colorado, and I hitchhiked. I couldn't hitchhike in Denver, so I had to go south to Texas. I went through Texas, Oklahoma, walked through Oklahoma, hopped a freight. Freight was going the wrong direction. I jumped the freight, got back on the highway, and eventually ended up in New York City on McDougal Street, walked down the street, ducked into Cafe Finjan, said, "Hi, I just arrived from the coast. Can I start to work?" He said, "Sure, 6 o'clock a.m. tomorrow. You're going to wash dishes." So I was, as I like to say, thrown into the suds and mire of Greenwich Village, New York City. But I did not know at the time I was surrounded by celebrity.
Right, because they weren't celebrities yet.
They weren't celebrities yet.
But Dave Von
Ronk and John Sebastian and Jimi Hendrix and Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, and many others that didn't quite make it.
Right.
I'd really believe that Bob Dylan, really kicked in the door for a lot of these people.
Yeah.
Joni Mitchell was there too.
Yes.
And it was just, they were great friends. And they knew me because I was there. I was kind of a celebrity because I eventually worked up to the coffee bar, the espresso machine, and it was teeming with people because it was one of the finest Middle Eastern orchestras in the world. It's called the Finjan Group. If you Google it, you'll hear their music and see the cafe and stuff. But that was a turning point. And then I was there. I ran away to Paris, got to see Paris. I swept under the Quai des Tuileries, and that's it was in the play. So when I say the word, I can actually image it. I went to London and then hung out in Haight-Ashbury for a while, but eventually returning to Monterey Peninsula, and that's when this director at the Studio Dinner Theater, which used to be on Dolores Street in Carmel, said, Kieth, you got to get back on stage. There we did silly little English comedies. We called them The Stewardess in the Closet, right? And a whole series of them. Hilarious. I remember standing with George Hershey in front of the audience, and he'd deliver the line, and I'd deliver the laugh line, and we're standing there looking at one another as the audience roars with laughter, and we're going, can we get started? You got to hold for a laugh.
That's funny. So you've had basically a life in the theater. So, it's on the West Coast, it's all, for some reason, there's such a prejudice towards film, and the theatrical actor is another life. You had a full actor's life in Los Angeles. You played at all the houses. Let's talk about Los Angeles for a little bit as a theater actor.
Well, I had the opportunity to appear in an ABC movie of the week, The Man Next Door, directed by Lamont Johnson. I auditioned, got a featured role, 3-week contract, filmed in Santa Clara. Editing took quite a while, so as the film was going to come out, I made the decision I'm going to go to Hollywood. I'm going to see what it's like, because I've never been there. And I slept in my car, went to the Beverly Hills Library and found Dramalog, looked down for the casting, applied. Back then you sent in a headshot, and applied to various theaters and was cast immediately. I was cast as the lead in The Captain's Paradise at Long Beach Playhouse. And at the same time, I got the lead in The Inspector Calls in Pasadena. But I picked the Long Beach Playhouse because Rock Hudson's picture was on the wall.
Oh, that's great.
That's where he got started.
That's great. That's so funny. I think your trademark is bigger than life characters. You played Howard Hughes, you played Captain Nemo, Count Dracula, Charles Lindbergh, Sherlock Holmes. What is it about these big characters that appeals to you?
I passed the audition.
That's funny.
But that's interesting because the whole thing about Captain Nemo, he was a new director at the Monterey College. He was from Chicago, Looking Glass Theater. He had created this script, and the script called for an East Indian.
Who's this?
David Kersner, out of Chicago.
Okay.
And they had written the script based on Captain Nemo, 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas. Yes. Historically, he's East Indian, and he's fighting the British.
Right.
I went and they never found the actor, and I went in and I said, what the hell, I'll go audition. I walked in, I auditioned, I had a solo reading with the stage manager, and he looked at me and he goes, Kieth, he says, you're making this damn difficult. I'll let you know next week. He goes back to Chicago. They rewrite it. They make him Polish.
Oh.
Fighting the Russians. The vessels that he sinks, he hits the keel. Right, he doesn't sink them. He hits the keel, so they can't maneuver.
I can actually picture Captain Nemo as Polish. Strangely enough.
The severity of his and the scientific mind.
Yeah.
Again, remarkable experience. I mean, to take a role and to command not only the vessel, but this huge audience, allowing them to be part of that experience. And I'm drawn to it, and I am humbled, honestly, humbled by these experiences, because I don't know the depth of my talent. I just play. It's kind of a confessional on my part. I'm a bit. I suffered with stage fright, serious stage fright.
Do you know any actor who hasn't?
No. But it happens, and you pace and pace backstage, and you go, why am I doing this? I could be on the beach. I could be sitting at the bar. Why am I doing this?
Because you got to be on, ready or not.
Yeah, and then when that cue comes, stand there, and I studied. This is really interesting. I studied with Del Close at the Committee Theater in 1967.
And where's this?
In San Francisco. Del Close is the founder of Second City and also the creator of Saturday Night Live. He's the father of all improvisational theater. And I worked on a workshop. It was curious how I got in there, but I walked in the theater, sat down, and he didn't even turn around. He said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Wow, I'm really interested. I came in to watch." And he goes, "The hell you are! Get your ass on stage." But as you're standing there waiting to enter the stage, breathe out. Take that step and breathe in the character. You know, this is how I approached Long John Silver, for instance, another very difficult, deep role. But that's how I approached it.
You can't. I don't think confidence would be very helpful for an actor. I think you have to have that insecurity and be on that edge to get there.
To be in that creative,
which is it's tough. I don't think people understand how psychologically being there at 8 o'clock means.
But I would submit to you, though, that's what draws in the audience. When I played Count Dracula at the Western's big production, they pound the stake in my heart at the end of this play. They wanted me to go sign autographs, so I'm standing, and the lady came up to me and she goes, "I felt so sorry for you when they pound the stake." Bingo! Vulnerable.
That's so funny.
He's driven. He doesn't make these choices himself. He's driven. And a lot of characters are like that. Sherlock Holmes had a lot of similarities to Charles Lindbergh. Yeah. They both had ice water in their veins. Yeah. Cold and calculating. Yeah.
Let's talk about your big film break, The Man Next Door, and how that worked out.
Yes, well, I went to L.A., I slept in my car, I auditioned, and I wanted to be there for the release of the film. And I'll go straight to the point. It opened on national television, ABC Movie of the Week, between Seinfeld and ER. And at that time, George Clooney was actually slept in his car before he got the big roles.
That's funny.
But I gained some respect. I auditioned for some television, got small parts, but theater constantly.
Yeah.
Which in the LA basin, you're putting in 150, 200 miles on your car every night. I was working at Beverly Hills in a hardware store, and then I had to drive to Long Beach, and you had to take the 405 and the traffic, and all. It's very difficult. But I successfully, again, I captured the roles and got to perform.
Well,
yes.
what I did learn, because I'd never seen you perform before this, and what I did find out is here we are in our little community here, but you've got a big following here. So when we show up, there's all these Kieth Decker fans that we don't know what we're going to see, but we're going to see Kieth.
Thank you.
So that was an eye opener, and you're really adept at playing bigger than life without.
Yes.
I feel like you felt very comfortable playing bigger than life without having to expand yourself.
Right.
In fact, I felt you were playing bigger than life, but still bringing yourself in a little bit.
Well, my dear friend, Carner Benjamin, has long passed, but he was a Hollywood director and was here briefly. We were doing a lot of George Bernard Shaw with Marcia Hovick at the little indoor theater, and he talked to me. He said, "Look, Kieth, it's music, especially Shaw, the way he writes. It's crescendo, and then resolution, then rise and emotion, then statement. Crescendo, rise below. But you've got to have those smaller, intimate moments at the same time that you've got this powerful statement to make." So,
what are the other writers that you particularly playwrights that you like or would love to play?
Tom Stoppard.
Absolutely.
He's just released a new play on Broadway. But I got the opportunity in 1981. Peter DeBono at the Monterey College cast me in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Oh, wow.
And But back then, newspapers wrote reviews.
Right.
Reviews.
I just been really studying Arcadia.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
Which is a marvelous.
Yeah.
Such a smart play. He's so smart.
He dissects, and the fact that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
Yeah.
They're minor characters in Hamlet who are eventually beheaded, and but his the opening scene is they're flipping a coin.
Right.
Heads.
Right.
He's already set up the image.
Yeah.
And I had a very good time with that one.
Yeah. So it's such great writing, so surreal and yet so crystalline clear.
Oh yeah.
So movie writing isn't like that. Movie writing is another animal. But great stage writing is why you have theater.
Right, but he did write Shakespeare in Love.
Yes, he did.
And that was a brilliant.
That was brilliant.
Yeah. But on the other note, I'd just like to point out that I have a great deal of respect for Sam Shepard.
Yes.
And he's on a different note. He's more of a lyrical, again, back to music, he's more of a lyrical writer. And I got to play, he wrote a play, after Howard Hughes died, he wrote a play called Seduced. And he named the character Henry Hackamore, but it was had long hair, fingernails out to here, stripped to the waist. The whole play was acted from a Barca lounger. And that's the first time in any production. Conrad Selvig directed that. It's the first time in any production that I've ever had a complete collapse, nervous breakdown in halfway through rehearsals. There was something about that. Something about it touched something inside me. But then again, I think that the performance was successful because of that.
It's a rough job.
Oh yeah, and I don't recommend it. Hey, all you out there,
you
want to be an actor? Hey, I got a good plumbing job for you.
You gotta be it. It's like you gotta be it, and you gotta do it because it's a fated thing.
And again, that was the interesting thing about the Giacometti at the Sandbox. We were backstage, and all these people were trooping through. Oh, hi, Kieth, hi, and I just couldn't.
You didn't. You did that wallop.
No, I have to. In fact, a lot of actors, they're looking. Where is he? They're all joking backstage, laughing. I'm not there. I'm not there. I am totally focused on the moment, on that first entrance.
Yeah, because you have to be him.
And I cannot dissipate that thought.
The whole play falls apart without you, and the excessiveness.
Yeah.
Without overdoing, so you were, it was really, it was quite great, and anyway.
Thank you.
It was, onward.
Well, you should have seen Mr. Mushnick, a little shop of horrors. Seymour, what have you done to the inventory? That was very, very difficult because I'm not a musician, and the music was recorded, and you get a measure behind. You're in trouble. And I had lyrical songs, these lyrics. Yes, it was difficult, but also a lot of fun. And there again, there's the contrast. I was able to go from Mr. Mushnick to Giacometti.
It's a great life.
Yeah. Oh, it is a great life. Thank you so much.
We're out of here. I'm Mark Baer. I'm with Kieth Decker. You're watching YourTown TV, and we've done as much as we can do right this minute.